Good morning guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the middle of winter here in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm standing here at the tram tracks in Moonee Ponds trying to get a photo of the tram going up through the palm trees here in the fog. I don't know if we're going to have a foggy morning, but anyway, it gives me a chance to tell you a story about one of my nightmare clients in commercial photography. So I've been a commercial photographer in the real estate space for about 10 years, I think, maybe about 10 years. Now, I've done all sorts of property photography, commercial photography and videography as well. Sort of mainly leaning towards the video side, but look, I did a hell of a lot of interior photography. And I've had some nightmare clients over the years. Maybe not nightmares, but definitely clients that just make you feel sick to your stomach with stress and anxiety. And I'm going to tell you two stories today just while I pass the time waiting for the fog to come in. I don't know that we're going to get fog, even though the Bureau of Meteorology said we're going to have fog, and I travelled across Melbourne to get here. Yeah, we're not going to have fog today, I don't think. Anyway, so the first one I want to tell you is about a client that I had just last year. Now, to put it in context, we were in lockdown here in Melbourne for one of the longest lockdowns in the world, I think at that stage, several months of lockdown. So don't leave your house, you can't work, you're forbidden to work, except if you're in essential services. And photography was forbidden, and you know, it was really tough. And we had just come out of lockdown after months and months and months. And my wife and I were really tight for money. And I got a call from an unknown number, and someone said, oh, hey, this is such and such from XYZ Construction. I won't name the company, but XYZ Construction, and we've seen the work that you did on another project. And we actually, it's a video job I did for another project, and we were the builders on that project. We were the construction company, and you were working for the developer there. We'd like to employ you to do the same kind of work on this job. And I said, great, tell me a bit about the job. And they said, oh, look, it's 14 months worth of construction, and we want a time-lapse style video. It's not really time-lapse, more of a documentary style video where you go in there once or twice a week and you record what's happening, then give them a product every 2 months. So it's like a documentation of the build process. And I said, okay, so how many videos you wanting? They said, a video every 2 months would be great. And I said, do you have a budget in mind? And we worked out it was going to be about $3,000, I think, per video plus tax. So it worked out to be, you know, a little bit of money. It was a decent amount of money. And I said to my wife, look, I've just got off the phone. These guys want to employ me. They want to start straight away to do some video work. And we were both ecstatic because it was so depressing in lockdown. We had no money, no prospects, no leads coming in. And it was crippling. It was really crippling. Now, to do this job, I needed to purchase some gear. I needed to purchase a drone. I needed to get my commercial drone license or permit to operate it, and I needed to purchase another digital camera, so 2 more digital cameras. I needed a new GoPro, I needed a new point and shoot, and a few other things. Like it came in at about $6,000 worth of investment, but the Australian government had permitted us to withdraw our superannuation, or in the States you call it your what is it, 412k, I think you call it, something like that. It's your retirement money. The Australian government had permitted us to withdraw up to $20,000 of retirement money as a sole trader, and I'm a sole trader, so I was allowed to do that. And I said to my wife, I said, look, I really don't want to touch this retirement money. It's sitting in my bank right now, but I can use it to invest in this project, and it'll pay for itself within 4 months, and then we'll start to make a profit afterwards. I said the first 2 jobs will pay for the investment, and then after that we'll make a profit over the next 12 months worth of work, okay? And we both sort of agreed that it was a smart idea, it was a good idea, and I went ahead with the job. Now, I want to mention at this point, there was not a contract in place because I had done work sort of alongside these guys before, and they seemed like decent guys. Okay, so there was not a contract in place, and I thought, you know, look, they're decent guys, they're fellow tradesmen like me. It's not like they're the developers, they're a construction company, and I'm a subcontractor. It's going to be pretty sweet. It'll be a good deal. So I just started working. I bought all the gear. I got my drone certification. I bought the new Mavic 2 Pro drone, and started practicing with the drone. Got confident with that, and started work straight away. And I produced the first video, and it was 2 months into the job. I produced the first video, and gave them the video, and they said, "Oh, great, that's really good, that's amazing, fantastic, send us the invoice." And bam, they paid the invoice straight away. I was like, wow, really good client. Like they pay the invoice immediately. They have only 2 or 3 edits of the final product, and they're a really good client. This is going to be a fantastic job. So the next 2 months worth of work, I start to put a bit more time into it. Now, it's a fixed price per video, so I'm not getting paid any more for putting more time in. But because I'm really enjoying the work, I start to put 4 or 5 hours into every time I go there, and it's a lot of hours. Like at the end of the week, I'm doing oh God, I don't know how many hours, but a lot of trips across town. Sort of drive all the way across town to set up a time-lapse camera, drive back across town, come back in the evening to pick up the time-lapse camera, drive back across town, fly the drone a few times. It was a lot of work, ton of work, but the second video in the series looked really good as well. I delivered it, and I thought, I'm really happy with that. That's a great product. It's a great product to have on my website as well. Tram going by here. And then I sort of didn't hear anything from them, and I went in, and one of the managers was in the office, the site office, and I said, "Oh, hey, such and such, I'm just touching base. How's it all going with the videos? Just checking that you're happy." He goes, "Oh, yeah, look, we're really happy with the product, but have a seat." And I have a seat, and he says this. He says to me, "Look, we're really happy with the product, but because we're on selling this product to our developer, they have come back and said the price is a bit more than they want to pay, and they would like a video just every 6 months now. So just just do maybe 1 more video, maybe 2 at the end of end of the project in total, and that'll be it." And I'm thinking, okay, well, that's not what we discussed. We discussed a video every 2 months. I said to him, "You realise that you employed me to do a video every 2 months, and that worked out to be X thousands of dollars for this contract, and I've invested over $6,000 in gear to make this happen." And he sort of looked at me and goes, "Well, it's out of our hands. I mean, it's up to our developer." I said, "Well, no, you're my client, and we had a word of mouth contract that this is what I was going to do for you." And I said, "We haven't even broke even on the investment on this project yet. So just to let you know, I haven't made any money at all yet." And he said, "Look, okay, let me put it to the client, and we'll get back to you. We appreciate your position, what you're saying, we'll get back to you." So, I go back to my wife and I say, "Look, I've had some devastating news. I think this whole contract is going to fall in the bin, and I think we're going to break even on our money on everything." And we're both gutted. We're absolutely gutted, because that was my retirement money that I'd put into that contract. And you might say to yourself, "Well, you've got a drone out of it now, and you've got this and that." Well, no, I didn't want to buy new cameras and a drone with my retirement money, not at all. That's bad business. It's just bad finance management, bad money management. So to cut the long story short, the client ended up just paying for 2 videos, and I never heard from them again. I sort of just assumed from our conversation that they were going to get back to me if they wanted me to keep working, and they never got back to me. And so I broke even on the contract. So, I've got a drone out of it and a couple of new small cameras, but, the hours weren't paid for. And, anyone who knows business knows that you've got to get paid for your hours and your equipment, your capital investment. So, and then make a profit on top after that. So, it was just a bit of a nightmare. So that's client nightmare story number 1. Now, bad client story number 2. This was a client, actually my very first real estate client, and if they're watching this video, they know who they are, because they saw me come up through the ranks, and I started with them pretty much, and I learned my craft along the way. But they were one of my first real estate clients, and what happened with this client was, I'm sure commercial photographers have seen this before, where they start to take you for granted. So what I mean is, one case in point was I was employed to do a vlog video with them. So I would turn up at their office and interview 2 staff. So it was like a two talking head video. They're talking to each other on camera, and I would deliver that video to them to go out on their social media. Now, the agreement was, okay, turn up at 11 a.m. on every second Tuesday and we'll do this video. So, you know, it was a pretty big job. So it was a full three-point lighting setup, multiple microphones, multiple cameras, you know, time taken to set up the scene and get the lighting just right. And it was a pretty big job each time. And I was charging like $300. It was nothing. Very, very small money for the time. And what started to happen was the client would be a little bit late, and so they turn up at 11:15. You know, so I'd get there and the secretary would say, "Oh, the boss is running late. Just get set up while they're on their way." And so, you know, it'd be 11:15 before they turn up. Then the next time it was 11:30, and then it would be like an hour. And then you turn up, and then the secretary would say, "Oh, yeah, she's not coming in today. Didn't she tell you?" And I'm like, "For fuck's sake, you know, like this is what I do for a living, you know." It used to drive me insane, the complete disregard for your time, because you're just it's almost like you're on wages for them and they can do what you like. But I'm not on wages. You're not paying me for 8 hours a day. You're paying me per job, okay? And that happened with on multiple occasions with him, and it's eventually why we split. Another case in point was I was doing interior photography for them, photographing apartments for sale, and I photographed this apartment. And there was a huge, what do you call it? A pillar it was a support beam in the middle of the apartment. It held up the building, and you couldn't photograph around it. So it was just this disgusting pillar, you know, about 4 feet wide in the middle of the living room. And I tried to get the best angle, but there was no getting around it. You had to have this pillar in the shot. And I photographed with a wide-angle lens and photoshopped in the view and the window frame and all the rest of it, as I always do. You know, multiple flashes around the interior of the building. Anyone that knows interior photography knows that you've got to do multiple flashes and do ambient and flash blends and all sorts of stuff. It's a bit of work. And I delivered my photos to them, and they came back to me and said, "Oh, Will, your work's usually pretty good, but like you've taken a photo with this pillar in the middle of the shot. Like we can't use it." And I said, "Yeah, I appreciate that. But just to let you know, there was no getting around this, that there's a pillar in the middle of the room." And we had an understanding that if they didn't like the work, I'd go back and do it again. And so I honoured that, and they said, "Look, can you go back and do it again?" I said, "Look, there's no getting around this. If I go back and do it again, it's going to be just more of my time taken, and I'm going to produce the exact same shot." So the second in charge of the company came out with me, and I let her take control of the viewfinder, and I said, "Which angle would you like? It's up to you." And she's sort of turning the camera this way and that way, this way and that way. And she goes, "Okay, look, I think this is our best shot." I said, "Okay, no worries, I'll take the shots," and I'll edit them, and I gave them back. It was the exact same fucking shot. It was the exact same point of view, maybe, you know, this much of an angle to one side. She couldn't find a better view either. So they took the shots, they paid for them, and eventually, you know, that happened multiple times where they just discounted my opinion and just assumed that I didn't know what I was talking about, and they could take better photos than me and just come back and bring the camera out, we'll tell you how to point it. And I know I sound arrogant and cocky there, but it happened again and again. And I remember going into one apartment and she said, "Okay, just put your camera down there. I'm going to tell you which angle I want." And she'd take the tripod, put it where she wanted, and take the photos. And you know, that's insulting to anyone who's a professional and a craftsman who's spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours honing their skills, which I have. That was insulting. So anyway, that's, you know, two of the many nightmare client stories that I can give you guys. But what I want to wind up with today's vlog is, you know, that I'm trying to get paid and support my family, my wife and my newborn son, with photography, because photography is my passion and it is what I love to do. And I always think you should try to get paid for what you love to do. A lot of people don't agree with that, but that's my life motto. Try to enjoy your work and you'll never work a day in your life. And if we can find ways as photographers and videographers to get paid and support our family for our art and what we do, then the world will be a beautiful place. So, you know, I've got a couple of ideas. I think this whole buy a photographer a coffee thing is a good idea, and I'm going to go home today and try to create a link for, you know, if you enjoy the video, you can buy me a coffee, like a $5 support payment. And if we can get away from relying on YouTube AdSense money for supporting our families, I think that's going to be a step in the right direction too, because I think YouTube's a great platform, but I've seen it close down many channels over the years, that just where they send you an email and say, hey, we're closing down your channel for X, Y, and Z breach of policy. And we shouldn't have to rely on other people to support our lives and our families as photographers and videographers. So comment below, guys, if you've got any ideas. I mean, there's subscription models out there, and there's different ways to make money, but you know, I'm getting into the NFT scene now as well, where other photographers are buying each other's work, and that seems to be gaining momentum and gaining traction, and I seem to be getting a bit of a following on there as well. So there's a link in the description here if you want to check out my work on the NFT space. But look, I'd be very interested to know and interested to learn from you guys if you have been able to make a living as a photographer and a videographer, supporting yourself and your family without having to bend and buckle to the whims of third parties and to clients for that matter. So yeah, anyway, a bit of a rant, but look, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks very much.